Be me, 27. Lifelong women's rights fighter. Run a women in tech meetup on weekends. Think I'm supportive. Always tell my younger brother, just be yourself. He's 25, quiet, software developer, gets all his hair advice from YouTube shorts. Mom brags about me to everyone, never mentions my brother unless it's to nag him. Dad just tells him, man up, every time he looks sad. I think he's just being dramatic. Probably not that hard to be a guy anyway. Family dinner, usual awkward tension. Mom starts up. So Matt, when are you going to find a nice girl and settle down? My brother just stares at his plate. Mom looks at me. Why can't you help your brother, Olivia? You're so outgoing. He should be more like you. I try to make it light. Not everyone wants to be a social butterfly, Mom. Dad chimes in. Boys don't get to choose. Nobody likes a weak man. Matt looks like he's somewhere else. Grandma even adds, in my day, boys chase the girls. That's how you get a wife. Nobody asks if he's happy, just why he's not performing. Later, I overhear Mom on the phone. Olivia's doing so well, her job, her friends. Matt? I don't know. He just sits at home. Can't he try harder? I start to feel off. Realize nobody ever pressures me about dating, marriage, anything. Every family event, it's always him getting grilled. I've never once had to answer for being single. Start to think, damn, what if that was me? I decide to ask Matt if it bothers him. He just shrugs, says, it's normal, I guess. I brush it off. You just need to get out more, that's all. He laughs. Wish it was that easy. I ask what he actually means. He says, you ever walk into a room and feel like you don't exist? I say no. He nods like he expected that. It's like, you're a ghost, but everyone still blames you for haunting the place. He says, when you're a quiet guy, people assume you're either creepy or boring. If I try, I'm desperate. If I don't try, I'm a loser. No win. I laugh awkwardly. Say he's overthinking. He just says, that's the difference. You can afford to be wrong about this. The next week, I see Matt coming home late. Ask where he's been. He says, therapy. I nearly choke on my LaCroix. He's never talked about feelings, let alone gotten help. I ask why. He shrugs, says, didn't really have anyone else to talk to. Feels like no one cares if you're a guy. Can't tell if he's serious or just being mopey. I press him. Is it really that bad? He doesn't answer. I decide I'll go with him next time, just to see. We show up to his therapy session. Therapist is this tired-looking lady in her 50s. She asks why I'm there. I say I'm just here for support. Matt just looks at the floor, fidgeting with his hands. Therapist asks him to describe his week. He says he wakes up, goes to work, codes all day, comes home, eats alone, plays games, goes to bed. Says he hasn't had a date in over 2 years. Only women who message him are bots or scams. Therapist nods, says, that's common these days for young men. I start to argue, aren't there more opportunities for men than ever? She just sighs, says, there's a silent epidemic for men your brother's age. Loneliness, lack of validation, never being chosen, always being blamed. Matt admits he doesn't even try anymore, says every attempt just ends in ghosting, being ignored, or worse. Group chat humiliation. Therapist asks me, when was the last time you were told you weren't good enough for existing? I don't even know how to answer. She says, men are told to be silent and strong, but nobody ever checks if they're okay. Matt looks at me, doesn't say a word. I can't look him in the eye. I leave the session feeling sick, like something broke open. Walking out of the building, I keep glancing at him. I want to ask 100 questions, don't know where to start. He's looking at the pavement like it's more interesting than anything else on earth. I say, you've never told me all that before. He just says, nobody ever asks. Gut punch. I try to ignore. I ask if he wants to grab food after. He says, sure. We go to this little diner. Waitress takes our order, all smiles, comes back twice to flirt with some tall dude at the next table. Barely even looks at Matt when taking his drink refill. At one point, she leans over to touch the tall guy's arm. Matt just sips his Coke, acts like he doesn't notice. Bill comes, he tips her like 20%. I ask why. He says, she's probably just tired. I realize I would have left nothing if someone ignored me like that. On the way home, I think maybe she just didn't hear him. Then remember, she heard the tall guy just fine. Yeah, probably nothing. A couple days later, Mom calls, just to check in. Asks how work is, what I'm doing for the weekend. Then immediately asks if Matt has made any progress. Feels like she's talking about a broken appliance, not a person. I just say, he's fine, and change the subject. Next week, family barbecue. Dad brings up Matt again. When are you going to bring a girl home, son? Matt just shrugs, says, Dunno, Dad. Mom, you should take Olivia's lead, join more social things, go out more. I try to defend him. It's not that simple, Mom. She brushes me off. You don't get it. Men have it easy, they just don't try. Can't even believe what I'm hearing, because I used to say the same thing. I decide to put Matt in my friend group's orbit. Maybe he just needs a chance. Invite him to a party, promise to help him meet someone. He looks terrified, but says yes. Party night, all my friends are there. Mostly girls, a couple of funny guys who play guitar and flirt with everyone. I introduce Matt, say he's into gaming, movies, coding. My friends all say, oh cool, but then instantly start chatting about their own dating drama. Matt sits in the kitchen, sipping a soda, checking his phone. Nobody asks him anything. One girl needs help with her car Bluetooth. Matt fixes it, she thanks him, walks off. Next hour, I see him help someone with their Wi-Fi. My friends gossip, he's sweet, but just not boyfriend material, you know? Guys like that are just backups, not dates. I overhear another girl. Olivia's brother is cute, but too quiet. He's not even trying. Realize they literally only notice him when they need something. The next day, I look through Instagram stories. Everyone posted selfies with the funny guys, the guitarist, even my roommate's dog. Matt's not in a single photo. He literally does not exist in their world. I ask him if he had fun. He smiles. Thanks for trying, Liv. Never brings it up again. I keep thinking about those photos. If it were me left out, my friends would retake the picture. With Matt, it's like nobody even noticed he wasn't there. Or maybe they noticed and didn't care. I get weirdly defensive, start thinking maybe he's not putting himself out there enough. The week before, he actually gets a haircut, buys a new shirt, smells like cologne for the first time in ages, says, maybe this'll help. We stop at a store for snacks before the event. The cashier laughs at some joke from the guy behind us. Matt tries a small joke too, nothing crazy. The cashier doesn't even react, just scans the items. The guy behind us makes another joke, and she's practically giggling. I feel a small pang, but don't say anything. He just mutters, guess mine wasn't funny? I see an ad for speed dating and tell him, just be yourself, it'll be fun, maybe you'll meet someone real. He's reluctant, but goes with me. Event night, big city bar, dim lighting, smells like cheap perfume and spilled beer. Women in groups of 2, guys scattered like they wandered in by accident. A few tall dudes in Patagonia vests laughing loud. The rest look like they just want to go home. I get attention just for showing up. One guy buys me a drink before I even sit down. Meanwhile, Matt takes his seat at table 4. The first girl glances at him, checks her phone before he finishes his first sentence. The second girl smiles politely, sips her wine, eyes already scanning the room. The third one asks if he likes hiking. He says, not really. She says, oh, and goes quiet. I watch him force a smile each time the bell rings to switch partners. I overhear some women chatting in the break. That guy in the blue shirt, he's okay, but more forgettable than anything. I realize they're talking about Matt. Every guy getting numbers is loud, funny, a little cocky. Everyone else, including Matt, might as well be invisible. I sit next to him at the end, ask how it went. He shrugs. Just feels like we're extras in someone else's movie. I realize for the first time, he's not exaggerating. I couldn't handle being ignored like that all night. I tell myself, maybe the women there just weren't his type. Besides, I wouldn't date half those guys either. Yeah, not a big deal. I tell myself, maybe he just needs a different crowd. Start thinking of all the couples I know who just met by chance. Convince myself he's one random event away from a girlfriend. Tell him, you just haven't met the right girl yet. He says, you sound like Mom. I laugh it off. Say, yeah, but I'm the nice version. Truth is, I don't want to believe it's really this bad, because if it is, then I've been blind for years. A few days later, we're at the grocery store. An older lady is struggling to grab something from the top shelf. Matt walks over, grabs it for her, hands it to her with a smile. She says thanks, but then her daughter shows up. The daughter sees the cart, thanks the guy walking past us instead. That guy didn't even help. Matt just says, no worries, and walks off. I'm frozen, because I'd have corrected her instantly if it were me. I realize this isn't even dating related. This is just life. Maybe the daughter just assumed, but still, if that was me, I'd have corrected it without thinking. Weird how he didn't even flinch. Driving home, Matt's quiet. Finally says, "You ever feel like you're just background noise?" I say no, but don't want to admit it's because I never have to be. I remember what the therapist said. "You don't know how good you have it, Olivia." A couple days later, I stop by Matt's office to grab lunch. He's in a small meeting room with a few co-workers. I sit in the back, scrolling my phone. He gives this solid idea about a project, explains it clearly. Nobody reacts, just scribbles on notepads. 10 minutes later, a louder guy repeats almost the exact same thing. Everyone's suddenly nodding, saying, "That's a great direction." Matt just sips his coffee, keeps typing. Meeting ends, and a girl from another department pops in asking Matt to fix her computer. He spends 5 minutes sorting it out. She smiles and says, "You're a lifesaver." But she's looking at another guy walking past. Matt just smiles and shrugs like it's normal. It hits me that he's invisible even in places he's good at. The next week, Matt gets a message from Mom. "Why can't you be more like your sister?" He just laughs, shows it to me, says, "It's fine, I'm used to it." For some reason, it hits me hard. I try to imagine if I was told every day that I was failing just for existing. I realize I'd break. A few days later, I hear Matt's friends are all single too. I invite them over for game night, want to see what they're like. They're all nice, polite, kind of shy. They talk about video games, movies, gym memes. Not one tries to flirt. Not one tries to shoot their shot with my friends. Tessa jokes, "Why are they all so boring now?" No fun banter, no confidence. Alicia adds, "It's like men forgot how to chase women." I almost defend them, then stop myself. Realize they're just tired. After everyone leaves, Matt says, "Nobody wants to be the joke. It's easier not to try than to risk being laughed at." I think about all the times I roasted a guy for sending a cringe message, screenshotting DMs to the group chat. I wonder if I ever did it to someone like Matt. Matt admits he doesn't even use dating apps anymore. Says, "Why bother? Just get left on red, or worse, ghosted after one reply." Says some guys just check out now. At least you don't get judged or posted for laughs. Bree and Alicia clown this. "That's pathetic. Men are so weak now." I start to argue, then remember the therapist's words. Maybe you'd do the same if it happened to you. I ask Matt why he keeps trying, even when it never works out. He shrugs. "Hope, I guess. Everyone tells you to try, but you get nothing back. Just easier to not bother after a while." He asks me, "When's the last time you took a risk and got humiliated for it?" I can't answer, because I never have. Weeks go by. Matt just gets quieter, spends more time alone. Family still nags, friends still ignore him at parties, dating life still a desert. I start seeing memes about the man drought and population crisis. Everyone jokes, men are going extinct, good riddance, LMAO. I don't laugh anymore. I read articles about birth rates dropping, men checking out, women panicking about no good men left. I try to talk to my friends about it. They just laugh. Bree says, "Whatever. Men just need to step up." Alicia, "Once women are in charge, the world will be better anyway." Tessa, "You'd never survive as a man, Liv." We have it bad, but at least we get to be seen. I can't even argue. Later that week, Matt's therapist calls to check in. Says he's missing appointments, worried he's isolating. Mom says, "Boys don't need therapy, they just need to work harder." I snap. "That's not how it works, Mom." She looks shocked. "Whose side are you on?" I realize for the first time I'm on Matt's side. That night, I end up in the kitchen with Mom while she makes tea. I say, "I think dating's a lot harder for guys now." She laughs. "Please, men have been chasing women forever. It's in their nature." I say, "Yeah, but now they're judged for even trying." Mom shrugs. "Only if they're not the right man. The right one never struggles." For a second, I almost argue. Then I think, maybe she's right. Maybe Matt's just not trying hard enough. Or maybe he's just not the right kind of man. I feel gross thinking it, but it's easier than believing the whole system's broken. The weekend rolls around. I go out for drinks with my girlfriends. Matt's not there, just us girls catching up. Conversation turns to dating, as it always does. Bree's laughing about ghosting some guy after one date. Says, "I can tell in 10 seconds if a guy's worth my time." Tessa nods. If he's quiet, he's either boring or creepy. No in between. They all laugh. I laugh too, But then think about Matt sitting quietly at that party, fixing Bluetooth and Wi-Fi for everyone. I realize they've just described him without even knowing it. I sip my drink, try to shake it off, tell myself they're just joking, but it doesn't feel funny anymore. On the way home, I scroll my feed. See post after post about no good men left. Laugh reacts everywhere. I can't stop picturing Matt in the corner of that party, invisible until someone needs tech support. I decide to ask Matt if he's okay. He says he's fine, but his voice cracks a little. Says, "I'm just tired, Liv. Doesn't feel like anyone's rooting for us." I hug him, first time since we were kids. He says, "Thanks, but you don't have to feel sorry for me." I'm used to it. Makes me feel even worse. A few days later, I see him gaming with some friends online. I hear him laughing through the headset, then dead silence. After they log off, he just sits there, says, "It's nice, you know, pretending you're wanted somewhere, even if it's just in a game." I have no idea what to say. That night, I lie in bed, can't sleep. Try to imagine being a man for a week, getting ignored, mocked, told to man up, shamed for trying, invisible when you're vulnerable, disposable when you're not useful. I realize I'd break within days. I get up, write in my journal, "If I had to live 1 month as a man, I'd rather die." Not even being dramatic. The next day, I see Matt gaming alone. No texts, no plans. I think about all the girls who say, men have it easy. I know they'd never survive it either. I end up texting Tessa. "I don't think I could do it. I think men have it worse than we know." She leaves me on red. Yeah, should have known. Anyway, next family dinner, Mum starts. "So Olivia, when are you settling down?" "First time ever," I say. "Maybe I'll just go solo for life. Seems easier." Matt smiles for the first time in months. The feeling when you realize you've had it easy your whole life. Wouldn't last a day as a man. Not even one. That's why they suck. Lol. God's least favorite creations. I guess respect finally goes both ways. It's weird, but I'm proud of my brother for surviving in a world that wants him invisible. Maybe next time someone says, men have it easy, I'll actually speak up. Maybe the main problem is they don't try hard enough.